Yeah, okay, so,
And you make every effort to maybe work on Saturday night too.
yes, and regarding that, I'm just going to read from the catechism and comment on it, because, this comes out a lot, and, again, a lot of Catholics don't know this. Let's see, did we cover everything else? We basically covered everything else, okay, so let's go to this. The Sunday obligation, so let's start with paragraph 2180.
What page?
This is, in here 583, but it's paragraph 2180. The precept of the church specifies the law of the Lord more precisely. On Sundays and other holy days of obligation, the faithful are bound to participate in the Mass. The precept of participating in the Mass is satisfied by assistance at a Mass, which is celebrated anywhere in a Catholic rite, either on the holy day or on the evening of the preceding day. Okay, so that's important on here on holy days of obligation, which we will talk about in a second. You can go either on that day or here at 7:30 the day before. After everyone's off work, we have the Vigil Mass for that holy day of obligation. And there are 6 of them, and I will talk about those in a second. Okay, so that's just what the obligation is. So 2181. The Sunday Eucharist is the foundation and confirmation of all Christian practice. For this reason, the faithful are obliged to participate in the Eucharist on days of obligation, unless excused for a serious reason. For example, illness, the care of infants, or dispensed by their own pastor. Those who deliberately fail in this obligation commit a grave sin. Okay? So, ordinarily, it's a serious obligation to attend the Mass on Sundays and holy days of obligation, which we will discuss in a second. What are the exemptions from that? Well, before we say that, again, why is it a serious obligation? Because we're creatures of God. That's the fundamental truth of our being. We're creatures of God. We depend on Him for everything, for our being, the fullness of our being, and every good thing that we received. And justice, we owe Him thanksgiving and praise and adoration. And He wants us to praise and thank and adore Him as one body, the church, as one church, one faith, one baptism, one in every way, even as He, our Lord Jesus Christ, His Son, and the Father are one. So how has He, in His wisdom, designed that we worship Him as one? Through the Holy Mass, which is the same throughout the whole world, on the same day of the week. So it's just 1 hour of our whole week, less than 1% of our whole week. It's not much to ask, but it is a serious obligation. Okay. So now, why would we be exempted from this? How could we be exempted from this Sunday obligation? Through like a real illness, through a real sickness. Maybe we're contagious, you don't want to give that to others, or you're really weakened by the illness. It's not just a little cold, but it's like the flu or something, or a more serious cold or something else, right? Through a more serious illness, you're exempted from the Sunday obligation. The care of infants, that's just an example, but like, if there's no way to, you can't leave infants. Or something. Yeah, and there's no way, something like that, an obligation that you have to fulfill where, and there's no one else to care for them, something like that, but a real obligation, which is a real obligation where you can't get to Mass, okay? if you have any questions about it, like if it's kind of a gray area, you can call, if people do from time to time, and say, is this a real, am I dispensed? The pastor can by his authority say yes or no, that's for the pastor to decide, yes.
We don't get exempt because of vacation. And so one of the tools that we have used is masstimes.org. And with
Yeah.
a little planning, you can roll that into your vacation. And we have had the pleasure of going to some amazing churches because of that.
Yeah, masstimes.org is awesome for masses and confessions and everything else. It's basically a website which gives you all the masses of like every parish, the times of the masses of every parish throughout the whole United States, and confessions and many other things. So masstimes.org. I've gone there I don't know how many times, certainly over 100. Yes.
Really bad weather counts as well. Is that
Uh,
an excuse?
Yeah, like if you're in really bad weather, yes.
Okay, because last night there was a tornado warning and my mom told me not to go.
I mean, if it's, yeah, really bad weather, yeah.
Well, then you're caught in between two commandments.
What?
You're caught in between two commandments, honoring your mother and father.
Yeah, right.
Tough situation.
Yeah. No, so, yeah, I mean, really serious weather can be a legitimate excuse, like a real tornado warning. You know how tornado warnings are, right? Does it?
Church will be fine.
Just excessive winds, tornado warning, whatever. There's no tornado. Just kidding. No. Yes, that could be. So, yeah. And, sometimes there can be a gray area. If there's doubt, if there's a real doubt, you can, just according to the judgment of your own conscience, if you can seek counsel, you should. If you can't, like it's Sunday, and everyone can't call the pastor at the time. So make your best judgment. That's fine. Okay. So, but having an informed judgment, an informed conscience, we can make our best judgment concerning these things. And if we're in doubt, next time we go to confession, we can ask about that to make sure, just to make sure, like, did we make the right judgment there? Okay? All right, so let's see. I just want to read this too. 2185. On Sundays and other holy days of obligation, the faithful are to refrain from engaging in work or activities that hinder the worship owed to God, the joy proper to the Lord's day, the performance of the works of mercy, and the appropriate relaxation of mind and body. Family needs or important social service can legitimately excuse one from the obligation of Sunday rest. Okay, so like making a festive dinner or something, right? Okay, that's, like your family's coming together, you're making a festive dinner, you can work for that. That's not contrary to the rest that our Lord asks, that the church asks for on Sunday. The faithful should see to it that legitimate excuses do not lead to habits prejudicial to religion, family life, and health. Okay? So, I mean, like mowing the lawn or something. Well, you really should do that on Saturday or some other day. You shouldn't do that on Sunday. Now, what about homework or something, or writing a paper, a constant thing, for college students. Well, you should really try to do that before Sunday. I mean, if you need to do some kind of obligation like that on Sunday, that's not a serious sin. If you're talking about like writing a paper or something, I just want to get into details because I know a lot of people have these questions. But there really should be, one really should try to free up Sunday as much as you could. Shopping and things like that, especially for big purchases. When I grew up, my mom, we would just not buy anything on Sunday. That's not sinful, but that is a great thing to do, to make that sacrifice if need be and say, we're not shopping on Sunday, you know. We'll, other chores like that we'll do on other days. But certainly there should be, it can't just be another day of work. And it needs to be set apart in some way. And there has to be some time for the relaxation of mind and body and for the worship due to God. Any questions concerning that? That's, if little questions arise later, you know, of course, you can bring that to, you know, one of the parish priests or to confession. Let me just read this to paragraph 2187. Sanctifying Sundays and holy days requires a common effort. Every Christian should avoid making unnecessary demands on others that would hinder them from observing the Lord's Day. Traditional activities, sport, restaurants, etc., and social necessities, public services, etc. Okay, so let's just, to clarify, I mean, like working at a baseball stadium. Can any Catholic really work at the Reds Stadium on Sunday? Can they even have that job? Well, yeah, you can. That's what it's saying. But, you know, you can have that job just, okay, so in restaurants, can you work on a restaurant on Sunday? Yeah, you can. Can you work, you know, as a bus driver or whatever on Sunday? Or as a nurse or a doctor, you know, and you need to perform, or, you know, surgeries and stuff on Sunday. Yes. Okay. Some people can have those occupations and work on Sunday, but everyone should still take care to set aside sufficient time for leisure. With temperance and charity, the faithful will see to it that they avoid the excesses and violence sometimes associated with popular leisure activities. In spite of economic constraints, public authorities should ensure citizens the time intended for rest and divine worship. Employers have a similar obligation towards their employees. So, in general, we should set Sunday apart from the other days of the week and have a time for leisure, for the appropriate relaxation of mind and body, and unless there's illness or some serious obligation, we definitely should attend Mass on Sunday, and that's a serious obligation. Okay, and then one can have occupations which require one to work on Sunday, but it really shouldn't be like the whole day, just like it's any other day of the week. It needs to be set apart in some way and made holy, appreciated as holy, because it is a holy day. Okay, does that make sense? All right, I also want to mention before we break up for breaks, the holy days of obligation. In addition to Sundays, there are a few holy days of obligation that the church requires us to celebrate as universally as an entire mystical body. Okay. Now this is an example of the authority given to Peter and his apostles whatever you bind on earth is bound in heaven. So this is an obligation that the church gives to us, not because they want to, burden us in any way, but because it's appropriate to worship God and to give him thanks for the gifts he has given to the entire church in this way. And we grow. And we grow in love of God and in the fullness of life that he offers to us through this. Okay? So this is a declaration from the National Conference of Catholic Bishops of the United States of America. And these are the holy days of obligation for Catholics. I can send this out also on the email, and then, but in the future, if you have any future, I go to Mass every day, so I don't need to keep track of these things, but we should keep track of these things, because if we're not going to Mass every day, because these are the holy days of obligation. If you have a question about it, if you just type in holy days of obligation, you can find it immediately, as I just did, in finding this. But in addition to Sunday, the days to be observed as holy days of obligation in the Latin Rite dioceses of the United States of America, in conformity with Canon 1246, are as follows. January 1st, New Year's Day, that's the Solemnity of Mary, Mother of God. That's a holy day of obligation. Thursday of the sixth week of Easter is the Solemnity of the Ascension of our Lord into heaven. That's a holy day of obligation. August 15th, the Solemnity of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary into heaven is a holy day of obligation. November 1st, the Solemnity of All Saints. December 8th, the Solemnity of the Immaculate Conception of Mary. December 25th, Christmas, the Solemnity of the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. Those are the holy days of obligation. Okay, and again, I'll send that list out in the email. Also, this is up to the bishops, so I just want to say this as well. Whenever January 1st, the Solemnity of Mary, the Mother of God, or August 15th, the Solemnity of the Assumption, or November 1st, the Solemnity of All Saints, falls on a Saturday or on a Monday, the precept to attend Mass is abrogated. So one is not obliged to go to Mass again, in addition to Sunday, when January 1st, August the 15th, or November 1st falls on a Saturday or a Monday. Kind of complicates things a little, but that is a decision of the bishops. This is always announced at Sunday Mass. Holy days of obligation that are upcoming. If you go to Sunday Mass and you pay attention, you'll always hear it. That's one thing. Okay, so that was a decision that could be made by the bishops, and that's what they decided. Again, I just have to inform you of that, because that goes along with the holy obligation to Mass on Sunday. Okay? Well, I think I pretty much answered a lot of the questions and covered the material that I was going to cover in a different way by responding to questions. So are there any other questions before we break for snacks and then small groups? No? All right, great. Well, thank you very much.
Father, Jerome,
Yes.
Wednesday is Corinne's birthday, so I brought some cupcakes for the celebration.
Awesome. All
And
right.
I don't know if
Great.
we did it in the beginning, but Sue was missing this week, and we're going to say,
Oh,
yeah, hi Sue
Hi,
on the
Sue.
board
Hi.
behind you.
What did you say?